All right, second video of the day, and I just got back from the gym, and I've been thinking about the drama of this new movie that came out, and I wanted to talk about some spiritual themes that I picked up on. Surely you know the basics. Robert Pattinson and Zendaya play a couple planning their wedding, and we get to see a nice, up close and personal uh, story during the week leading up to their big day. So this video will be spoiler free, but you should go watch it. And I even think it's worth to watch as a mature, discerning Christian, and we'll get into that a little bit. The drama was highly anticipated for me for a few reasons. I saw the spoilers early on, and I think The Guardian or one of those tabloids had an article on it, and the spoiler was like in the first few sentences, which is a little irresponsible. But obviously, for such a taboo topic to be the focal point of a film at this level of filmmaking, it meant I had to go see it. This movie, in some ways, has the same air about it as Eddington, who was directed by Ari Aster, which was my most anticipated film of last year, 2025. So I can almost sense the neutral ground which the movie stood on, and that its contents would simply be one of a wild recounting of events, and I was right. So I also had to go see it with my wife of just 6 months. We've been married since September of last year, so I felt that this movie could be relatable, which is a risky choice of word, but relatable one way or another. At the end of the day, this movie is about the baggage each of you bring into a relationship and what it is that allows you to look past that and still love that person selflessly and sacrificially. And we do see how their love costs them down the road. So I won't spend too much time on the story and themes and narrative that I think the movie itself is trying to get across, but a few key scenes which stuck out to me as pointing to the gospel of Jesus. So let's rock and roll. The first moment doesn't come until after the big twist. And I wish I had the option to go and watch it again, because I'm sure there's more you could dig up from all over this movie. But it's during a flashback Emma is having to her troubled youth. She's in her bedroom attempting to record a video addressing some people with whom she intends malice towards. And as a young Emma records this video and imagines herself these acts she will perform, her computer fails on her. An error message pops up, and with frustration, she retries the recording button for her computer to then have the computer shut down entirely. It gives her the blue screen of death or something to that length, and she just kind of gives up. In my own life, this reflected similar events during my own troubled youth, where sinful intentions were met with malfunctioning technology or even freak events of nature, to the point where it was clear to me God does not want me to do this. Something identical happens to Emma, still in flashback. On a potentially disastrous day, another incident hijacks her plans, and this to me just screams God's mercy and grace. It brings to mind Joseph's address to his brothers in the book of Genesis, where he says, "What you meant for evil, God intended for good." We see this sidetracking, this jerk of the wheel in Emma's life, take her to a place of greater peace and friendships and values. Truly a 180 turn from where she was headed. Now, after the drama has been spilt and everyone has had time to process and decide their response, Emma's soon-to-be husband, Charlie, acts emotionally and irrationally during a moment of vulnerability with a coworker. And I feel like this does merit a bit of a disclaimer, because either I did not read some of the parent guides and stuff in depth enough, because there's like a level of kind of raunchiness that I just don't even want to mess with. And I did miss this scene. Either I didn't read it or the reviewers didn't forgot about it. It's likely that I just missed it. So be aware that this does happen, and I won't go into detail. But This, in a way, is spoiling what Charlie does here, but it can't go unmentioned. As a man and a leader of your house, protector of your wife, and guardian of your own heart, be on extreme alert when it comes to confiding in coworkers, especially the female ones. Your office is not the place to go seeking closure and comfort from the wily woman a few cubicles down. Clearly, not even Charlie's best man could be the rock in his life to point him towards truth and reconciliation with his fiance. So if you are in a remotely similar scenario, go find you some strong, godly men, mature in their faith, who won't pussyfoot around your problems. As a general rule, don't even put yourself in an isolated situation with a coworker of the opposite gender when stress is elevated and emotions are running high, especially in those scenarios. So, side note over. Charlie is immediately broken by his actions, yet he has the bright idea to hide it and avoid confrontation as most people would respond. These two conflicting responses, reactions to this outburst of stress, it echoes Paul's refrain in Romans 7, where he says, "For I do not do what I want, but I do the very thing that I hate." This is reflective of a very pertinent response to sin and how we hide it. We sin and we want to cover it up immediately. But as the movie plays out and we reach the pinnacle of cringe and staring daggers and awkward announcements, it all comes out. Charlie slips, not physically, he just slip of the tongue, and the coworker's partner rightly becomes infuriated. Physical harm is dealt, and everyone feels the weight and the consequences of this sin, this wrongdoing. Proverbs 28:13 says, "He who conceals his sins does not prosper, but whoever confesses and renounces them finds mercy." So, understandably so, Emma is devastated, and after their wedding clears out, the bride and groom go their separate ways, and to our speculation, may never rejoin. And this is a very realistic result of our sin coming to light. We will suffer the consequences in this life or the next. So, in many ways, and in my own life, a sin that was concealed then being unveiled or revealed to whoever that sin was against, or so on and so forth, it was in its own way an act of mercy. Even though it wasn't me going and confessing that sin, it was an act of mercy to me, because those things do fester if you let them go unchecked. But at last, after what felt like hours of self-reflection and grasping at the hope of a love rekindled, Charlie and Emma find each other in a diner, bloodied physically and bruised emotionally, and they forgive each other. Hands reach out across the table to grasp the other, and in that instant, a decision is made to love one another despite the darkness inside them, despite their capacity for sin and ability to hurt their spouse. They esteem their affection so necessary that whatever burdens are brought into their covenantal marriage, it will only prove it more powerful and always prevailing. 1 Corinthians 13, a passage me and my wife could not escape leading up to our wedding, yet it is rung true in our lives and seems to ring true in this movie as well. It says, "Love is patient, love is kind, love does not envy or boast. It is not arrogant or rude. It does not insist on its own way. It is not irritable or resentful." That's a key word in the themes of this movie. It does not rejoice at wrongdoing, but rejoices with the truth. Love bears all things, believes all things, hopes all things, and endures all things. So this is kind of going off script here, but it does not rejoice at wrongdoing, but rejoices with the truth. So Charlie could have made a decision to rejoice in, how do I say this? He could have partook in the glorification that Emma at that time even was entertaining with those dark thoughts. I have to be careful about how I word these as to not give anything away. But he rejoiced with the truth. You could also put a different spin on this. He did not rejoice at the wrongdoing of, I feel like her name is Rachel, but it's Alana Haim's character, Emma's maid of honor, who reacts very harshly and maliciously. There's a lot of malice in this movie, but Alana Haim's character acts especially maliciously towards Emma after this information comes out. And Charlie, by the grace of God, it seems, chooses not to rejoice in the wrongdoing of Alana's actions toward Emma, but instead chooses to rejoice in the truth of their love for one another and the truth of who Emma truly is in the present day. So many more topics in this movie that it touches on, and I could get into all of it, but plenty people have done and will do it better than me. So go watch those reviews and perhaps actually watch the drama and see if you can pick up on any more spiritual themes. Thankfully, it's still in theaters, and I probably will be watching it again when it comes out on streaming. But either way, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and if you did, it would mean a lot if you liked, subscribed, commented, and even shared with friends and family, because that's what we are. Later.